Thank you for allowing me to bring my views to your attention. I consider myself something of a runt of the litter of the Franklin Delano Roosevelt generation. My father was in World War II, and he was an educator. I can imagine what it is like for disastrous circumstances, largely beyond your control, to gain an upper hand in a threatening way, and to have to steer the ship of state while inheriting errors of the past, some of which may or may not be partly of one's own making. It is clear to me that there is an unwillingness to extend our sympathy for Muslim Americans to Muslims of the world, and to regard our statesmanship and honor as acceptance of cultural differences between us, and to focus on comity between our respective cultural systems, and learn to respect cultures that are not ready to adapt to our premises concerning government, just as we ask them to accept that we're not ready to change the premises of our government as well. Learning to live together is an important achievement. Someone I knew in college said that she was surprised we've gotten through this long. As you know, I put into circulation my investigation showing that illegal lab weapons were used ruthlessly to target a human behavioral difference that arose in a revolutionary climate, or I should say a reactionary and rebellious climate, which was called the sexual revolution. This backlash, the AIDS attack, came with a double fantasy. My peers in my government all said not to worry because it was an illusion machine at work, acting on me experimentally to play with my mind. Since I know that's not true, that's not the full explanation, I've had to live in circumstances where, to get along with peers who went along with this crime, I've been told I was in a food fight, and it has indeed been something of a food fight. I've been poisoned in my mouth. I've been fed things that cause me stomach damage. I have Parkinson's from mistreatment. What I know, Your Honor, is the moral lesson of being attacked. Nobody who knows me believes for a minute that I support Hamas' attack on the supernova rave. That's what I see as the most important parameter, that the supernova rave was moved into position and attacked. The first lesson of combat, when you're defending yourself from some kind of unexpected freak show, no matter what the cause, and I do believe that Israel purposefully instigated this reactionary formation. I think that Israel's moral condition is increasingly at risk of self-destruction or reconstruction at the hands of their better angels, of which there are a few and who influence many. The first moral lesson of combat comes from Winston Churchill. I am not above seeing the satire of cartoons about George Bush and everyone else clamoring for war, claiming, I'm Churchill, I'm Churchill. But there was a stoic, concerned, dignified human being who asserted his better nature throughout World War II in defense of civilization from barbarianism. The British have colonized, the French have colonized, European has made this mistake. But the first lesson of combat is a moral understanding between brothers that comes from Winston Churchill, or I should say, is articulated most simply and directly by Winston Churchill. In victory, magnanimity. This is the only message that can be communicated to Israel. Stop playing destroyer to the weak. It shows baseness of character. It shows opportunism in being attacked. With the meaning of in victory, magnanimity, is very simple. When you have defended yourselves, stop and look for reasonable understanding with those who you have brought to surrender. What we are seeing at the present time in the state of Israel is a boiling mad military stoking bloodthirst. There is no reasonable way that the United States of America can endorse anything but the message of a ceasefire. Israel is entitled to a defense, those who support this war say. Israel has defended themselves. They have done what any reasonable person would have expected them to do, and a little too much more. I also want to call attention to a second phenomenon of the perimeter that I am looking into. The claim that the Israeli Defense Forces were slow in the manner of Uvalde at arriving to protect the rave scene. If so, they are responsible for some of the civilian hostages. A ceasefire is the most likely way to secure the freedom of the hostages. Every hostage there is precious. One-on-one with any responsible American, we would take their hand and hold it and try to give them hope, protection, a feeling of safety, and lead them to escape. Not all of us are in a position to do that. Our imaginings are bringing them to jeopardy. If we can't trust Israel to be honest and professional, then we cannot trust them at all. It is reasonable to ask questions about what had happened, but most of all, it's reasonable to seek the safety of the people who are being affected disproportionately at the present time in Gaza. In victory, magnanimity.